Welcome everyone to Tanya Outside In. We rejoin our journey through Sefer Tanya, the Holy Sefer Tanya. We spent the past 4 weeks, I think, doing a Chazara from chapter Aleph to chapter Lamed Beis, and now we begin chapter Lamed Gimel, which is it's really a hemshech from chapter Lamed Aleph. Lamed Beis is a little bit of an interruption, and chapter Lamed Gimel. Um, Introduces some really powerful mashalim, probably the most famous mashal of Achdus Hashem that the Rebbe brings. I also know of this mashal from Goyish texts as well. So I don't know if John Ben, I don't know where this mashal comes from. If the Goyim took it from the Rebbe or the Rebbe took it from the Goyim, I don't know. Either way, it's a true mashal. And okay, let's jump in. Chapter Lamed Gimel. V'oid zois tieh simchas hanefesh ha'emitis. There's going to be, on top of what we've just said, we're giving now ways of accessing a real genuine simcha. We're going to say that this real simcha is when you get straight in your mind Achtas Hashem. Okay, a bifrat, and in particular, kasher roya benafshoi. See, roya benafshoi is a very telling. Re'iyah is very real. Yeah, you only see when you see something, you know it for sure. When you hear something, um, you know you're pretty sure, but you don't know it for sure. But when you see, hence the expression "seeing is believing." Yeah. So roya benafshe, it means like picture it, make it real. Like don't just like we've spoken about many times, the idea of his boniness is, oh, the universe is really, 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 really big. Or sit there and put in the energy and the time and give yourself the mashalim, the drop of water next to the Pacific Ocean, and then the Pacific Ocean next to the next Pacific Ocean, the same ratio as the original drop of water, and do it again, and then compare the first drop of water to the third Pacific Ocean, etc. Put in the energy and get it really. I mean, that's the godless, in my opinion, of Rabbi Daniel Katz. When I went to his meditation seminar, I was the photographer there. His ability to paint a picture in a group of people's minds, and I saw him do this in a group of like nearly 200 people, yeah, was just phenomenal. It was just, he basically painted a movie. He had the music with him and he set everything up, was all set very, very intelligently. And he basically painted a real movie in people's minds, and people were having real experiences. Real experiences. So this is what the Rebbe is saying here. "Kasharoye benafshoi," when he sees in his consciousness, be'itim mezumanim, specific times, shetzorech lizchocho le'ira b'simchas levav, and he needs to that he needs to be mezachech himself and to light up his heart, so to speak, with simcha. As a yamik machshavasoi, he has to use his mind in a very deep, profound way. V'yitzai b'sichloi ubinasoi, and he has to paint a picture in his mind, in his seichel, and in his bina. Inyan yichudo yizbracha emiti. He has to he has to exert himself to come up with some kind of mental image, even though you can't call it an image, a mental image of Yichud Hashem, something that is tangible, relatable, experiential, palpable, real, visceral, whatever. He needs to come up with something like this. And there's a lot of books that do this. This is a lot of what the Marmorim of the Rebbes were trying to do. There's a Goyish book that I know, Lahavdil, that does this phenomenally, which is called The Nature of Consciousness by Rupert Spira. It's a real schlep of a book. It's really, really hard to get through. But he gives you some absolutely stunning imagery to be Messiah Yichud Hashem. And now, what is Yichud Hashem? Eich he mamalik kwalmin. How Ehu mamalik kwalmin. How he fills all the worlds of Yodim v'tachtoinim. V'afilu maliko oretz alazoi. Who kvoido yizbrach. That he fills all the worlds, the higher worlds, the lower worlds, meaning that he fills all the worlds. He's as close to you as you are to you. Yeah, afilu maliko oretz alazoi. Even this world. Who kvoido yizbrach, his covered fills this world. We'll speak in a minute what his covered is. Okay, now he doesn't talk about soviv kwalmin because that isn't a feeling of closeness, that's a feeling of distance. And the next one is koloi kamei, koloi choshiv mamash, and that everything is as if it does not exist. Now, you think that you can always say, if you can say one thing about Hashem, is you can say that he exists, yeah? According to Rav Yoel Khan, according to Shmuel Diamond, how he understands Rav Yoel Khan, you can't say that. Hashem's existence is a choice that he makes. He doesn't have to exist. He chooses to exist. That doesn't mean he gives birth to himself. That doesn't mean he creates himself. I don't really know what it means. It just means that you can't say that he exists because existence is something that creation does. Creation exists. And it shows no the minute you say he exists, that's already not him mamash. You're talking about something lower than him mamash. When you're talking about him mamash, you can't use a word that you can use to describe creation. So the fact that you can say creation exists, you can't say that God exists. So does he exist? Yeah, because he chooses to exist. So what comes before his existence? His Ratzon. So does his Ratzon exist? I don't know. Don't know how to say it. I don't know how to answer that. Don't know how to say that. But the point is that this is just a really important thing to keep in mind. Is anything you use to describe creation, you cannot use to describe creator. Even to say on the most foundational level that creation exists, that is enough to puzzle that word existence in relation to the Ribbono Shel Olam, B'chvoid v'atzmai, in his essence.
I don't know if I was frozen. What about Hayov Hoveviyah? I'm saying that is the way we discuss the Ribbono Shel Olam.
That's his name. That's exactly the point. He himself, the nameless one, you can't even call him the creator at that level. You can't even call him the creator. There's nothing you can say about that.
Shame ha'etzem. You're saying it's still shame. I get that.
It's the shame ha'etzem. It's not etzem.
I don't know what that means.
That's
How
the
you
point.
a shame ha'etzem? It's a theory.
Well, shame ha'etzem is that's the shame of the etzem, but the etzem itself is shameless. That's why it needs a shame. It's not. You can't. All you can do by what I just said, the way I see it, is you can just kind of like gasp, just go, wow, and relax about thinking that you know anything. We're so, what's the word? We're so certain about so much stuff. In Yiddishkeit, it's nauseating how absolutely certain we are of so many things. Like the whole the discussion we were having, Gabriel, over WhatsApp this week about Moshe, not knowing what Rabbi Akiva and Chalisha Sadas, and we jump to these, well, it means this and it means that. Well, it can't be that Moshe didn't know, and we can't. We have no idea. We have no idea. And the more somebody feels they have an idea, the less worthy they are of being listened to, probably, in my opinion. That's me having a strong idea, me having a strong opinion on the fact that people who have a strong opinion, a strong belief that they know what's flying, so probably don't listen to me also. But that was what my friend said. He said you years ago. He said you can't live by any rules, including this one. That's what he said. um, but anyway, Chris Thompson. But either way, just just use what we just said before to kind of remove those mental creepers that make you think that you have some kind of idea of what's flying. You really don't. The best we can do is just, try our hardest and make sure that we're following halacha to the best of our ability. And be prepared. Be prepared to change your mind. Okay, so that's what we say. Kula kamei koloi choshev mamish. When we say everything is like nothing to in comparison to him, we're saying that you can't even use the word that he exists. That's what we're saying, that nothing is as if it exists before him, meaning we have absolutely no relationship to Ein Sof. We have no understanding. I mean, it can't be understood. We have just nothing. Whatever you think it is, you're wrong. That's the only thing you can know for sure. Vehu levadoi, that he is exclusive and alone. Hu be'elyonim v'tachtoinim mamash. He is exclusively alone, mamash, above and below. U'kamoi shahaya levadoi, koidem sheishish mei bereishis, gam b'makom hazeh shenivra boi oilam hazeh hashemayim v'aretz v'chol tzva'am, and he's exactly how he was before the creation of the world. Nothing changed in him with the advent of creation. It was just, in a sense, like a reordering of the primal. That you can't even say that. It's like, in a sense, how the screen. A good motion is how the screen is not affected in any way by the images that go on it. Although the images look extremely real. Right now, you're looking at me and the other guys in the share, and in a few minutes later you'll be looking at your email, and a few minutes later you'll be watching a video, whatever it is, all different images, but the screen itself remains utterly unmoved and unchanged. Yeah, that's about as good a moshe as we have for this. And it's not such a great moshe anyway. Okay, and in this place where you find yourself, which is so in this place where the world is, hazeh, sheniver boyolam hazeh v'shmanos v'chol tzva'am, ha'u levado mamale makom hazeh. He exists in this place exactly as he did before. V'gam ata kain hu levadoi. V'gam, and now it's the same. Hu levadoi bli shum shinu klal. He exists as he always existed, exactly where we are right now. He is as he was before. Because all of every creation is completely nullified etzloi by him in the most utter sense of nullification. This is these five words you could write pages and pages and pages on. What is the bittul of how you are to him? The bittul of oisius adibo v'amachshava b'makoyim v'shoshan. The oisius, the bittul of the letters of thought and speech in the place where they come from. Now, if you notice, I'm just talking, yeah? I'm not thinking about talking. I'm not processing all the words in my mind. I'm knowing what I'm saying, and those words project as a way of expressing something that's going on inside me that I don't really know, I don't really understand, I don't know how that works. But there's this oneness that you could call me. And out of that oneness comes these words that I'm speaking. I'm not telling you something new that I don't know, or I'm not telling you something new that I don't feel. I'm either talking about things that I know or things that I feel. They're coming from me, for me, what do they look like in me, in the oneness of who I am? Like when my kids see, when my 1 year old sees, a piece of candy, he's like, or he cries, he wants. He doesn't have any words for that. When he gets older, he'll be like, ah, but didn't you say that you didn't like? Didn't you say you were trying to cut down on sugar? And like, hey, give me the candy. Go on, I'll take it off your hands for you. Yeah, that's it's the same. It's the same oneness of I want the candy, but it produces. This is the point now. It produces sounds. That oneness produces sounds. See, in another way of talking about it, we say that that oneness fills the kalim of the letters. But it's really important to remember. How do you remember this? You remember this by an orange. The cleaper of an orange is orange. See, the cleaper conceals the pre within it, yeah? But you have to remember the cleaper is not just this um not random, what's the word? There's a better word for it. Arbitrary. The cleaper is not this arbitrary cover that the orange kind of falls into. The cleaper is the lowest manifestation of the orange. It's so low that it's disposed of. It's discarded. But it's still part of the orange. It comes from the orange. It's not like you've got an orange there and all of a sudden you're like Terminator 2 style, stuff comes out from Shemayim and it's now it's now maybe that's the Indian of Man, how that it was so uncleapedic that maybe that's the Indian but Gumri of Man, how there was no cleaper there, Bichlal, so it got covered from above. It got its cleaper, so to speak, the tulle came from above and below and around. That's an interesting thought. I'll think about that. But the cleaper of the orange is a manifestation of the orange. So too the words that you're speaking, they're filled with meaning. Like אני יכול לדבר בעברית. אני יכול להשתמש מילים אחרים, כלים shonim. I can change the kalim, yeah, but the meaning's still the same. Because in this sense, it's the meaning that actually produces the kalim. So now what are the kalim? What are they? And that's coming from the oneness of what is me. So follow that back to inside me. Where are all the kalim? Where are all these words that I'm speaking right now? Where are they all? They're just subsumed in the oneness of myself. Is that clear?
Where does that oneness reside? Or where is that oneness found? Everywhere, in the moach, in the heart, in the neshama, in the nefesh. Like,
let's say, I mean, that's the right question, I suppose. Let's just say that whether it's the mind, whether it's the heart, whether it's the whole thing, that it's a good question, but and we can talk about that for a long time. But there's a oneness. There's a oneness. I am a oneness. Yeah. So that oneness, which is without letters, that oneness is what produces the letters. The letters is the reboy. The letters is the multiplicity, the kalim. Yeah.
Is this what I just told you yesterday about Torah Shabbat Peh and Torah Shabbat? The
Mm,
or that is mitzamsim itself into Torah Shabbat Biksav, that is the Torah Shabbat Peh that we have access to through the
yeah, but
neshama.
that's the more regular way of talking about it. We're talking about it in a little bit of a different bechina, saying that it's the or that produces the oisius. It's the light that actually produces the oisius, not just fills the oisius. It produces the oisius, which means that the oisius come from the or, which means if you follow the oisius back, yeah, you end up at that oneness. You end up at that oneness. Well, let's follow because he brings a moshel. Why is it doing a thumbs up thing?
I felt
Is
so
that,
happy to see that. That was great.
is that what you do? If you do that, it puts a thumbs up.
What?
Oh, that's cool. How do you do it? Like, so it like does the thing where it explodes the thumbs up. I see people do that sometimes. How do you do that? You know, maybe a double thumbs up. Oh, let's see.
No.
Oh, look at that.
That's awesome.
What?
Zoom.
Wait, does everyone
If
have
you
that,
do
or
a double thumbs up, it does
is
fireworks.
that normal?
Nothing's normal. It's 2026.
No, how do you get that? I can't do it.
Your thumbs are better than our
I
thumbs.
got bigger thumbs, man. I do it like
It
this.
only happens in Israel.
Is that right? There you
What
go.
if you're learning Gemara? What if you're like,
Are you getting so many?
That's really cool, no? Okay, anyway, back to work. So now listen, he's gonna give us the moshel for this, okay? So the oisis of dibur of a machshava b'makoyren u'shorashan, the way that the letters of the thought and speech are subsumed within the oneness of who I am, who mahus nefesh, which is called the essence of the nefesh. Musa, which that answers your question. That's why I kind of ummed and erred with your question, Mike, because it's talking about the 10 powers of the soul, the seichel and the midas, chochma bin das, she'ein behem bechinas oisius adayin, because in seichel and in midas there's no oisius. Oisius get born in the world of machshava. That needs a little that's a low resolution statement, but that it's a true statement. The letters do not, there are no letters in emotions and in seichel. In emotions and in intelligence, there's no letters. The emotions and intelligence becoming clothed within letters. Like the feeling that I love you, well, that exists in Spanish as it does in the same feelings it exists by a Spaniard as it does by a French person, as it does by a Russian. I don't know if Russian people feel love, but normal like people feel whatever. That wasn't fair. As my joke, whenever I take pictures of Russian people, I would have everyone in hysterics because I'd be like this. I'd be, okay, everyone's smiling, a Russian smile. Like that, and they'd love it. Everyone who wasn't Russian would be like in fits, and everyone who was Russian would be looking at me like they want to kill me. Anyway, so everybody in the world loves in the same way. So what's that got to do with letters? Because love is not to do with letters. Love is pre-oisius. Yeah, what about understanding? Well, everybody in the world understands 1 + 1 = 2 in the exact same way. But if I was to go up to a guy in Mongolia and say to him 1 + 1 = 2, he'd be like, yeah, no idea, because he doesn't understand the letters. But when you explain to him the concept, he'd be like, Vadai, 1 + 1 = 2, of course. Yeah, so 1 + 1 = 2 is beyond letters. It's conceptual. Yeah, it doesn't need letters. It needs letters to express it. But it doesn't need letters. It's beyond. It's pre-oisius. Yeah.
isn't that everything? Isn't that everything?
What do you mean?
Everything, besides expressing a table, which only exists post-Osius, everything that's an emotion or an idea is
that's every
an
emotion.
abstract concept that's pre-Osius that you're expressing in Osius.
That's what you just said. All emotion. That's why I said love, and every idea, which I just used 1 + 2.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were saying those were special.
No. Just that was my exactly my two examples. Yeah, because oisius line nislabshus belavusha machshava, before it becomes enclosed within the clothing of machshava, which basically means letters. As we mentioned earlier, chapters 20-21. Then we've got a very powerful moshel, physical analogy, metaphor for this. Minyan bitl ziv. This is a very famous thing that the Tanya brings. Bitl ziv or hashemesh b'makoyroi. The nullification of the ray of light in the actual sun itself. Who guf kador shemesh b'rakia, in the actual body of the sun that's in the sky. Shegam sham meyu mispashet v'vadai zivoi v'oiroi, that for sure the ray of light. I mean, when we talk about ray of light, you see a shard of light. If if you wake up early in the morning and you make an omelette and there's a little bit of smoke in the kitchen, and a ray of light comes through the Venetian blind, and you see that shard of light, yeah? So think of it like that. But rays of light are just the light that emits from the source of the light, yeah? I know that's very complicated, but I don't know really what it means. But understanding it, the ray of light, yeah? For sure, that ray of light that's coming from the sun into your kitchen that you see through the smoky kitchen, for sure that ray of light exists in the sun, yeah? Well, that's where it's rooted, is in the sun. Because what would happen if you put a break between that ray of light and the sun? What happens? By definition, it stops. So it is from the sun, and you can't cut it off from the sun because then it stops existing. That's, by the way that you understand Atzilus. That's really what Atzilus is. If the shemesh in the moshel, remember moshalim are not stum. Moshalim not only allow you to understand something that is beyond your intelligence, meaning at this moment, meaning that if you were more intelligent, you could understand it. Moshalim allow you to experience things that are beyond intelligence, that are not shaykh to the Olam Habriya, not shaykh to the world of intelligence. Yeah? His pashtusoi, v'ha'arasoi b'chala la'olam, and it's for sure going to be brighter and more. It's going to be more powerful where it comes from. As you see, as the further it goes, the more shvach it gets. But where it is there in the sun, it is completely nullified in its source. And therefore it's like it doesn't have any metzias. Meaning it only begins to exist when it leaves the sun. But if you cut it off from the sun, it stops existing. So we know that it exists in the sun, but when you're in the sun, there's no concept of some kind of singular ray. It has no, I think the word is ontological reality. It has no independent ontological reality. It has no reality unto itself in the sun. It's only when it leaves the sun, you could paint a circle, where the ray of light hits on the floor. You could draw a circle around it, yeah? You could measure it with a thermometer, the heat of it. You could measure the intensity with a light meter, how bright it is, etc. Yeah? It's taken on very much its own life. But what is it back in the source of the sun? It's not distinguishable. It's not there. But we know that's where it is. That's where it emanates from. And it's only where the sun isn't that it takes on its own sense of individuality. That's the same as us. That's the same as you and me. You and me are that ray of sun. Down here, you can measure it. You can how do you say to measure the temperature? Is there a word to say that? You can measure it. Is there a verb to measure temperature? No.
You just take it. You take it.
Take a temperature, whatever it is. Yeah, you take it. There you go. Quote Yitzi Katz. You take it. Yeah, you measure it. You can measure it. That's really the word. You don't need any more than that. You can measure it, just like you can measure you. Everything about you can measure you. Yeah, that's a Moedika thing. That's why spheres is the Indian of Midas. Spheres are also called Midas. because this world is a measured world. It's measured. That's what gives it its own independent Metzius. But don't forget, even though you can measure the light down here, if you cut it off from its source, it vanishes. So let's follow it to its source where it really is, and it's not there. It's completely nullified in the source. That's exactly the moshel for our reality. That's exactly the moshel for our reality. We are as we are here now, we are completely nullified within him. And I suppose that the closest thing we can get to getting our head around that is the image on the screen. The images come and go. They come and go. That's it. They come and go. And they do not affect the screen. And where are the images really rooted? They're rooted in the electricity for where they come from. And if you cut off the electricity, the image just immediately vanishes. So how much of a, it's like what kind of reality does the big cinema, those big drive-in cinemas you get in America where you got the 100-foot screen or whatever it is, yeah? And the projector that nowadays, I don't know if they probably do use projectors still. Yeah, they got the projector that how real is the picture on the screen? It's really rooted in the little film that's the reel of positives that's being pushed through it. So how real is that? And it's all really rooted in the electricity or in the light, and the light is rooted in the electricity. So again, how real is that? This is what we're talking about. These ideas have to be really, really thought about and studied. There's a lot to study in these ideas. It's not, talking about Achdus Hashem. It's very easy to say, Achdus Hashem, it means it's one, yeah, like Ein Od Milvado, there's just him, But you really need to spend a lot of energy trying to get this clear. So,
But Rabbi Shmuel, why? Why? Sorry, why do we need clarity on this? How is this helping?
This is what he's saying here. That's exactly the right question. Let's go a little bit further. V'kacha mamash derech moshel. Listen, isn't that amazing? Did you guys hear that? V'kacha mamash derech moshel. It's exactly like that, derech moshel, by way of analogy. That shows you what moshalim are. Moshalim are not stum. Moshalim are not stum. Yeah, moshel is from Lashon moishel, to conquer. Yeah, that's how we do it. Moshalim are the way that we conquer everything through moshel. Okay, which is very different. It's a very different kind of that's the main avodah of Chabad Chasidus is moshel, which is a very different intellectual avodah of Talmud Bavli. Talmud Bavli is pilpul, yeah, pilpul with using bina, yeah, but Chasidus Chabad is pilpul through is really moshel through bina, using moshel with chokhmah bina das, but using moshel, yeah, which is very.
What's pilpul exactly? Just in one sentence. What is that? How is the difference?
Well, I mean, the discipline of Talmud Bavli is dissection, comparison, contrast. That's more or less it. Comparison and contrast. Whereas moshel means extrapolation, conceptual extrapolation to something that is abstract. Abstract conceptual extrapolation. So this is the avodah, the ikar avodah of Chabad Chasidus, where I understand it, is moshel. So kacha mamash derech moshel. Yeah, you can understand this absolutely by way of moshel. Who bitla oilam umloyo. This is exactly the Indian, that the nullification of the world, umloyo, and everything within it, but metzias, absolutely. Legabe makoiroi, in relationship to where it comes from. Shu or ein sof baruchu. As we explained someplace else. Okay, its makor is the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. You notice that he doesn't say Ein. It doesn't sorry. He says the or Ein Sof Baruch Hu. He doesn't say Ein Sof Baruch Hu. It's not even fitting to say that the Ein Sof is the makor of everything. That is too much. You've said too much. You can only say that the or Ein Sof, which is an emanation from the Ein Sof. Yeah, that's the makor of everything. To say Ein Sof is the makor of everything is not correct. You're not allowed to say that. It doesn't make any sense. You can't say anything about the Ein Sof. You can't even say it's the makor of everything, the source of everything. That's how much you can't say anything about it. Do you realize that the covered it gives the not the cover, that's not the right word. The the hachna that you have, the how do you say hachna? The humility, that's not the right word. The submission, you feel unworthy of talking about these things when you speak about when you say things like this that we just can't speak about this. There's nothing that you could ever say about this ever. It gives you such a covered for these ideas. By Dafka not talking about them or speaking about not speaking about them, that gives you a tremendous covered. This is the answer to your question, Yitzi. When you ponder this deeply, Yismach libo v'sago nafshoy, exactly your question. You will come, your heart will light up with simcha, and your nefesh will jump up with gila. Yeah? That's exact for you, no? Tegel, that's your
Wait,
answer, Yitzi. Gila.
it'll light up with what?
Gila.
Hmm.
It says, Yismach liboy v'sagel nafshoy. Your heart will become sameach, and your soul will become with gila. Yeah? Of gilas v'ranan b'chol leiv v'nefesh u'ma'oid. You will come to a tremendous simcha. Yeah, but emuna zu, in this emuna, understanding that you can't understand. Understanding that you exist now as you are, as a ray of light exists in the sun compared to Hashem. Meaning, all there is the Rabbeinu Shalom. Everything that you think is you is just the same as a projection on the screen. Comes and goes, could be anything. Kirabahi, that's huge. I don't know what to say about that. It's great. Kihi Kivas Elokim Mamash. This is what we mean by Kivas Elokim. Not Devekas in Hashem. Kivas Elokim. Yeah. Devekas in Hashem is mitzvah. Kivas Elokim is the thing that I joke about with your eyes like this and your pairs and that. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, that's called Kivas Elokim. That idea of feeling that you are immersed and subsumed in the oneness of the B'nai Shalom, that's called Kivas Elokim. Yeah, and that is 1 minute. וזה כל האדם ותכלס בריאסוי, ובריאס כל העולמות עליונים ותחתונים, ליועץ לדירה זוי בתחתונים, כמו שכתוב בכמה באריכות. That is the whole tachlis of creation, that there should be a dira b'tachtoinim. This is the first place the Rebbe mentions these words, these iconic words, dira b'tachtoinim. Okay, that you are aware that you are not something separate from the B'nai Shalom on a visceral level. Yeah, that is the prerequisite for Dir B'Tachtoinim. V'hine kama gedoyle simchas hedyet for shafo anoshim. How much is the simcha of a simple poshet guy? Bis kavusay lemelech basav adam, when he comes close to the melech basav adam. Hamis Kasan v'da itoi imoy bebeisoi, when the king comes and dwells in his apartment with him. Imagine the feeling you would have, lahavdil elef alfa elafim havdalas, if Donald Trump called you up and was like, "Yo, Mike, do you mind if I come and stay with you for Shabbos?" Yeah. Imagine the feeling that you would have. It would be like, it would be even for him, like he's not such a, whatever. But even for him, it'd be a tremendous, tremendous simcha. Kol v'chomer le'ein case l'kiras v'diras melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All the more so, the closeness and the fact that the Rebbeinu Shalom comes and dwells with us. K'dichsiv ki mihu ze asher of liboy l'geshes elai nom Hashem. Who is so like whatever, like who is so not haughty? Who's so like I don't know how to translate that. Like who dare? I've got to translate it. Who dares to approach me? It's like what a schus. What a schus. What a schus. That we have the schus of becoming the address that the Rebbeinu Shalom comes to. That's Yitzi, the answer to your question is that when you get this clear, when you really get this clear, we talk about how close is Hashem to you. You know, people say I want to feel close to Hashem. Well, when you get it really clear that you can't, that doesn't make sense that Hashem is close to you. To say that he's close to you is just the most ridiculous understatement you could ever say. The fact that you feel that you are something other than him is a complete, it's delusional. It's a deep misunderstanding. That's the point. To feel that you are something separate from him is a deep misunderstanding. And the more you get that clear, but you might say, but look at me, look, I can feel myself, I can do. But when you learn it deeply and understand it more and more deeply, it starts becoming more and more real to you, and that is a tremendous source of simcha. That it really is. It really is. As you start to get clearer and clearer on the fact that the concept of talking about being close to Hashem is such a non. It's such a, what's the word? It just doesn't make any sense. It's like I'll give you. We'll finish on this much. A cute idea. I'm sure I said it before. Definitely with two the two fetuses. There's twins in the womb, yeah, and they're schmoozing with each other. And the first one says to the other one, he says, "Listen, I've been hearing for my whole life this thing about mother. Yeah, don't see her, don't smell her. I don't believe in her. I don't believe this whole thing about mother." And the other one saying, I really do. I do believe in mother. I really do. And I feel that we're very close. And then the other one says, and you know this whole thing about life after delivery? Nah. I think it's just like, you turn off the machine and gone. And the other one says, I think that there is life after delivery, and I think that you know what we're going to do. I think we're going to finally meet mother. That's what I think. Yeah, that's what it is over here. That's what it is over here. To talk about being close to Hashem is such a diminishment of what's going on. Do you know what I'm saying? It's such an infinite diminishment. It's such an ignorant statement. I know people say it the whole time, intelligent people. I'm just saying this for the effect now, but it's ignorance to talk about being close to Hashem. You're of Hashem. You're subsumed within Hashem. The only reason why we talk about being close to Hashem is because we've become confused with thinking we're something else. But that's just confusion. That's just misunderstanding, misperception. Okay, B'ezrat Hashem. We should be
I think what we really mean is aligned with Hashem.
What?
No, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm being facetious and annoying, but I'm just doing it for the hisboniness here. That we should have a little bit of a feeling that we are of Hashem. We are, to say that we're close to him is like saying that your blood is close to your body. That doesn't, like, your blood cells are really close to your body. What do you mean they're close to your body? Your clothes are close to your body. Your blood cell your blood cells are your body. So you can't say that your blood cells are close to your body, just like you can't say that you are close to Hashem. You're of Hashem. The what's not close to Hashem is the illusion that you've been fooled into for the past 40 odd years. That's the bit that needs to be worked out. And then all you need to do is live in alignment with that. That means Torah mitzvah.
I have a question from Michael. Michael, if I call you afterwards and I ask you to give me the mashal, to teach me the mashal of the projector screen, could you tell it to me?
I think so.
Okay, good. I'm going to call you afterwards.
Okay, guys. Good night, everyone.
Reb Shmuel,
Yeah.